for joining our first webinar. We're just going to take a couple minutes and let some other people join, but feel free to participate in the poll on the screen for Are You Currently a Registered Organization on Doobert? Sorry if you hear my dog in the background. She's tearing up the male person or something, or she thinks she is. All right, so far we've got one vote in. All right, I see a couple people in here I know. All right.
Yeah, good to see some familiar faces. It's exciting.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so while we're waiting for some others to join, I know that today's webinar is going to focus on the CCM overview page, but feel free to pop any questions that you have about that overview page, and if there's any questions that you have, because I see right now we're sitting pretty split. Registered on Doobert, so a lot of you have probably seen the CCM overview page. Hey, June, how's it going? So glad you could join us. All right. I love it in here because we've got June, if you don't mind me sharing. She uses CCM for transport, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I love the process. It's really, really interesting too. So it's awesome.
Yes. Well, that's what's great about CCM, right? Is there's so many different ways you can use it and manipulate the system to work for what it is. Just while we're making some small talk while we let other people join, Lena and I actually use CCM for our internal side of things too. We can track follow-ups and create workflows and assign things back to one another. So believe it or not, we use it too. So
yeah, I love it. And I think it's super beneficial in like realistically any industry can do something like this. So that's why I think it's such like a good versatile platform, especially with like how much you can customize too. I think it makes it so great.
Yeah, it definitely helps out. I like the automation aspect, but yeah. Okay. So we're going to wait a couple more minutes and then we'll kind of, for those of you who do not know me or know Lena, we'll do an introduction section. Yeah. So I see a few other people have joined. So feel free to fill out that poll on the screen before we get started, and feel free to use the chat as you see fit. You can connect with others in the webinar. You can ask questions. We will definitely do our best to answer the questions in the chat, but if not, don't worry. We are going to have a Q&A at the end as well. So we'll definitely touch base on everything. And then if we have time at the end, if you have questions about anything that you're currently doing or any questions that just kind of pertain to the system that maybe we didn't show, if we have time at the end, we're happy to talk about those too, since we're here. So feel free to jot those down. Lena is going to be tracking all of those questions. So don't worry if something doesn't get answered in the chat itself. We'll cover it towards the end. So no worries there.
Of course. And then it is just, if you have a question that's just kind of about something really specific that we're talking about, it's super helpful if you just pop it in the chat so we can address it right there while we're talking through it. So it makes just a little bit more sense too. So
yeah, definitely while we have the system pulled up too, because it's always better when we can see it, right?
Right? Yeah, of course.
Let's see. Okay, so we have a couple more minutes here. Is anybody logged on? So Sarah, I know you're on desktop. June, did you join on a desktop or did you join on mobile, if you don't mind answering? I know the mobile can be a little finicky, so there we go.
It looks like desktop from the little icon right there.
Yeah. That's good. Honestly, I prefer it on the desktop myself.
Yeah.
I like to see things a little bit bigger on my phone. Even though I've got the bigger phone, it's just a little too small for me.
Yeah. I agree. Hurts my eyes too.
Yeah. Well, my eyes are already terrible. That's why I wear glasses. It helps when I can see things. Oh, okay. We're riding in the car, so we're coming along for the ride.
Fun.
Are we doing a transport, Miss June, or are we doing personal?
Multitasking.
Yes, I love it. All right. Okay, so why don't we pull up the view for the poll so you can kind of see where we're at, and we'll go ahead and get started here. So it looks like we had a couple yeses and one no for organizations if you're registered. So that's good.
Good. It's exciting to see some current users in here.
Yeah. All right, so let's kind of just kick this off. It is now our time to get started. So some of you may know me and Lena, but I am Kimberly. We are a part of Doobert's support team. There are more of us, but primarily we work with organizations more closely. Oh, okay, June. So I see June couldn't get it to work on her phone. So we can definitely work through that. If you want to let us know what the issues were, we can shoot you an email to try to get those worked out. So anyway, I'm Kimberly. I've been with Doobert for almost 5 years now, and so it's been quite the journey. I've learned a lot. We've got a lot of new modules. Personally, my favorite is CCM, just because I love everything that you can do with it. There's so much. We can manipulate the system to work. You can get the data that you want. So CCM is by far my favorite. And then I love getting to work with organizations like many of you to kind of help solve the problems and get you guys focused on the more important aspects. So we try to do what we can. So if you're a registered organization on Doobert, feel free to use Lena and myself as your support throughout the system. We by no means want you left on your own because the system can be a little overwhelming. So we are here. Feel free to shoot us an email at any time. Lena today is going to kind of be on the back end, kind of answering questions and anything like that. So feel free to pop them in. I'll go ahead and let Lena kind of introduce herself and a little bit about her, and then we'll kick off the webinar.
Yeah, of course. So I am a little new to Doobert. I've been here about 6 months, but I'm loving it. I'm a dog lover myself. I have my little silver lab sitting down here chewing a bone, so she's just hanging out. But yeah, I really love this webinar new experience. I'm really excited about these because I think that they're going to be a really, really great resource to our organizations as well. So I'm really excited to kind of see how this goes, and I'm glad you all are here to join us.
Yeah. All right. So today, our primary focus is the CCM overview page. That's what we call our dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and take down the poll, and I'm going to go ahead and screen share. So I apologize if it is clunky just for a moment. All right. And while we go ahead and start looking at our presentation, I do like to point out that we are going to be sharing the system in our beta environment. Things may look a little different. You may notice things that are bugs in the system just because the beta environment is our testing screen. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, so because the majority of you are signed up on Doobert already, you guys have already kind of been in the system, you know what the organization dashboard looks like. I'm going to go ahead and skip that part. Organization dashboard, you guys know you guys can use that as a resource. There's videos on there. There's a ton of resources. So feel free to check that out at any time, especially if you're having issues navigating specific features within the system. We're always here to support. So if you're really struggling with something, just shoot us an email. We're happy to get that answered for you. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. So if we're looking at the slide deck here, the first thing is obviously our agenda. What are we going to be talking about today, right? So we're going to look at the CCM dashboard. We're going to check it out from a high level, what the benefits are. We're going to check out how you can see your different case types, your statuses, your animal types. That's super great, especially from a high level if you're monitoring your team. We're going to go ahead and look at things like managing your defaults, the customization. There's a ton of abilities that you guys have in terms of customizing it to really meet your needs and your programs and stuff of that nature. And then lastly, we're going to go ahead and go over some team collaboration. So Doobert actually allows you to get your team involved, so it's not a one-man show all the time, while also giving you the visibility of who is doing what on your team, so that way everybody can kind of stay aligned. Again, I'm Kimberly. I'm your presenter for this webinar. So if you have any questions or anything so far, pop them in the chat and Lena will do her best to get them answered. If not, we'll answer them at the end at our Q&A. Alrighty, so this is our dashboard overview. So for those of you who don't know, we partnered with the Dallas Pets Alive team and the Spay Neuter Network here in Dallas to kind of create CCM and really take the vision that everybody had and turn it into a reality. So CCM actually started for rehoming, owner surrender cases, temporary housing, and stuff like that. And it's actually transpired into to a whole lot more. There's many organizations using it for so many different programs. And we're definitely throughout this webinar series, we're going to go over each of those things and how orgs are using it for certain programs. So if you're interested in specific programs, feel free to pop those into the chat, and then we'll know some focus points for upcoming webinars. Okay. The great thing about many of the features within CCM is you can pretty much use the entire module on any of our different plans. So we have 3 tiers. We have our Forever Free plan, our Elite, and our Pro. And in each of those, you get different things. You get and what I mean by that is you get access to different features and functionality. All right, so let's move on. So before we dive into the actual dashboard in the system, just some high-level components for you that live on this dashboard is it goes over your case types, which case types, a lot of organizations associate that with the program that they're offering assistance for within their community. So your case type can be things like owner surrender programs, rehoming, like we mentioned. You can use it to operate your spay and neuter clinics, your wellness events. We even have some that go so far as they manage their foster programs within CCM as well. So that's kind of our breakdown for case types, but honestly, it's a matter of preference and what you guys want it to work for. Then if we kind of dive into case statuses, these kind of align with our case types. So for a specific program, if we take owner surrender, for example, you may have some case types that say awaiting response, awaiting CSR, which would be awaiting customer service representative. You could have things like follow-up. You could have things awaiting more information. And then also on our dashboard page, we can give you a high-level view of animal types. Are you helping more cats? Do you have more active cases that deal with cats versus dogs? It just gives you that high-level overview of the animal types that really need your assistance in your community, which is great for reporting. So I'm going to go ahead and switch gears. We're going to go ahead and look in the system. So don't mind that. This, again, was that org dashboard I mentioned before. Feel free to use it as a resource at any time. You've got your tutorials, FAQs, videos, etc. But let's go ahead and dive into what this webinar is all about. Let's look at that CCM dashboard. So this was that page that we saw in the presenter's deck. So here is the quadrant for your case types. This gives you a high-level view of how many active cases you currently have within the different case types or programs that you have. So you can see here that in this account, we have a pet food pantry case type, a spay and neuter, foster volunteer, et cetera, et cetera. And we can actually see how many currently active cases are within each of those case types. If we move on down a little bit, you can see our case status section. This is where you can come in here and kind of just see a high level. Like if I see, me personally, if I see that I have 4 cases awaiting CSR, that definitely lets me know that we have some work that we need to do, right? And this is going to list all of your case types and case statuses. So now if we take a break from the dashboard and we kind of move into those managing defaults, right? We all want that customization. You can go ahead and click on the Manage Defaults section here, or you can also get to it by clicking on the left menu, and you can click Manage Defaults here as well. So if we click on this, this is where you will be allowed to customize how you want your CCM module to work. So obviously you see here that you can manage your case statuses and you can manage your case types down here. The system does generate a few for you, but you can easily, as long as the trash can is not grayed out, you can delete them as you see fit. Like you can see here under case types, there's only 2 or 3 of them that have the grayed out trash can. Everything else is fair game. You can simply delete it by clicking the trash can icon. The great thing about this pop-up is it will actually tell you how many cases you have assigned this case type to, and it will let you know that if you happen to delete this case type, it's going to then change the case type on those specific cases to unassigned. So this kind of is just that backup that just, if you don't want to change a case type or delete it because it's assigned somewhere else, you can easily come in here and go in and change them. All right, so that goes for deleting. The same that I just walked through is the same thing that you can do in your case statuses. You can delete them, or you can simply edit them by clicking on them. When you click on them, it's going to bring up the one that you clicked on. It's going to bring up the name and the color. Feel free to change these. Maybe we're just going to put needs fosters. We'll make it easy. And I want to change this to a blue color. You can go ahead and hit update, and you can see that you're going to get that successful window there. And then now you can see that it updated to needs fosters with a dark blue color around it. So that's how you can customize existing ones. You can edit or delete. Now we can go into actually creating one. So you can hit these plus icons either next to statuses or types, depending on the one you're trying to add. You can go ahead and click here, and we can go ahead and just say, we're just going to go ahead and say webinar test 1. And then what we can go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and assign it a pretty color. Then we're going to go ahead and create it. So now you can see if I scroll down to the W, because it is in alphabetical order, then now we have webinar test 1 down here, and it'll actually tell you who created it. So I am logged into our master account, which is in Rachel's name. She is a colleague of ours, so that's why her name pops up. But this is super great because you can see who's creating new statuses, new types within your account, and manage it however you see fit. Okay, so that covers our manage types and statuses. Now I do want to kind of sneak down here to this section here. Your case type quadrant defaults is perfect to give you that high level view of the types of case types that you're actually interested in knowing about from that high level. So you're going to see that you have case type 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 6, and you can actually select which ones you want to see. This list is going to pull in from your case type section here. So if we go back to our dashboard for reference, this is that quadrant that we're changing. You can easily change the different case types that you want to be able to see. This is super beneficial for organizations who have more than one program that they have in the CCM system. So we have, organizations who manage their owner surrender programs in here. So this one may say owner surrender. Then they have their spay and neuter. Then they have their foster volunteer. So it's just that customization aspect on your dashboard. So far, I'll take a quick pause to breathe just to check if anybody has any questions about anything.
I don't see any in the chat yet, but we'll give it a second.
Yeah.
To see.
Well, while we wait, feel free if you have questions about those sections or how to customize anything or how many we can do, go ahead and pop them in the chat. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and move on to animal types. Your animal types, this is that it gives you a little bar graph here, and you can really see, so you can tell that our beta test account has a pretty close number between our dog and our cats. And then we also have others. So your others can be a little bit of anything. You can have guinea pigs, you can have bunnies, you can have barnyard animals, you can have reptiles, kind of a little bit of anything, right? And so that's going to be under the other category. So if you have animal profiles created that are assigned to cases, they're going to go ahead and populate here. So that's basically what this section is. It's just that high level view. Now let's go ahead and talk about team statuses. And I love our slide for this. So I am going to swap over here. And we're going to talk about how teamwork makes the dream work, right? We know that many organizations, many of us, we're that one woman or one man show, but we do know that having extra sets of hands is extremely beneficial. So within Doobert, there are a ton of things that you can do with your team. So we're going to talk about those things high level, but we do have a webinar scheduled out where it's all about your team, all the different things that you can include your team on, how you can communicate, how you can assign tasks and stuff of that nature. So if that is something that you're interested in, feel free to stay in tuned with our upcoming webinars from our newsletters, or you can even just go to our webinars page. All right, so in that team status section, which we just looked at in the system, you can see who on your team is currently within your organization and how many active cases they have assigned to them. This is extremely beneficial because it allows you, if you have, let's say Alex Smith is handling all of your owner surrender cases, you can see that she's got kind of a busy day going. She's got 7 cases to get through. Maybe Rachel handles your food assistance program. She's got 6 cases to get through. And these are super easy to assign back and forth to each other. So if you have a team where there's different people involved in the different processes, you can definitely assign them back and forth. Then let's go ahead and hop back in the system because this is a super awesome feature too. So if you hit this more details button here, you have the ability to actually open up an entire team status log. This is where we can see, okay, Alex Smith, she has 7 assigned cases to her. If you hit that plus icon, it's actually going to pull up what cases are assigned to her along with their case types. So you can see here that she's got some foster volunteers, some crisis boarding, food assistants, etc. These are all of the ones that are currently assigned to her. So for those organizations where you might be a one-woman, one-man show, you may have all the different types of case types assigned to you. But this is super beneficial because it gives you a high-level view of what's going on within your team, what's their workload like, and to see how else they can help, right? So if we hop back into our dashboard, that's basically, it's just a high level thing. It's more for our EDs that really just want to get that high level visualization of what's going on within their CCM module. And then hopefully you guys found the managing default super beneficial. These come in handy. I know ours looked a little crazy because we've got a lot of different things going on, but you can keep it as clean and thorough as you want, or make it as elaborate and super busy. I like super busy. That's my personality, but some people don't. All right, so if we kind of hop back into our slide deck, we can jump right into our Q&A. So this is where we can talk about things that we've shared today in terms of our CCM dashboard and the overview and stuff like that. Or if you have any other types of questions based on how you're using the system or just questions in general, feel free to pop them in the chat and we can definitely look at the system since we have some time and we can talk about it. Oh, Lena, thank you for sharing the newsletter subscription.
Yeah, our newsletter is super fun. They're really tailored to our organizations to give them some resources and some good tips and tricks. So definitely sign up for that if you're not signed up already. And then we also have, if you're not currently on Doobert, we also have a little sign up banner at the top that will take you right to our organization sign up page.
June, you don't have any questions? Sarah, no questions? Who else we got in here?
Someone's
typing. Someone's typing. I
what
love
we got.
it. I know many of you, since you are signed up on Doobert, excuse my cat here. He wants to say hello. I don't know that you can talk on here. I think it's just chat. Oh, there we go. Wait, June, can you talk? Microphone permission enabled?
Can you hear me?
I sure can. How's it going?
Well, that's fine. I'm trying to do this riding in a car, and it's hard to type and do that at the same time. So I really don't have anything to talk about the dashboard. One of the things that I'm finding is being able to have more logic when we submit using our JOT form.
Yes.
Maybe setting a variety of case types.
Yeah, so it definitely, so we have some flexibility. So June, we can definitely schedule a call to talk about that. That way, are you trying to say that you want to do forms that, like a generic form that could assign to different case types? Okay, June, what I'll go ahead and do is, I think it's breaking up a little bit. What I'll go ahead and do is we'll shoot you an email after this, and then we can go ahead and go over that a little bit more to understand the process and what you're looking for. And then hopefully we can get that set up for you. If some questions come up, feel free to reach out to us at help@Doobert.com. Or another great thing is, Lena, if you want to put I believe I put it at the top of the chat, but if you want to reach out to us or schedule time with us, you can go to our Meet the Support Team page. And that actually has Lena's calendar set up as well as mine. But typically, if you shoot us an email at help@Doobert.com, you can reach any of us. So feel free to check that out. Our next scheduled webinar is going to be on the 27th, and that one is going to be CCM based as well. I believe we're going over case information page. Is that right, Lena?
Let me check on that really quick and just give you a first share.
June lost connection. Well, we'll email you either way, June, okay?
It looks like it is navigating the case information section.
Perfect. So that one's going to literally go over an entire case, all of the information that you can put in there. And then also we can probably talk about, yeah, definitely. So yeah, so we hope that you'll see us soon in about 2 weeks. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and send you guys a survey in the next day or so just to kind of see how this webinar went and to see if you have any additional questions that we can maybe answer, or if you have anything that you would like to see on one of our webinar series that we can go ahead and touch base on. But other than that, I know we're about 6 minutes early, so if nobody has any questions, I don't want to take up too much more of your guys' time. But thank you so much for joining us today. This was a lot of fun, and I'm happy that we could show the system. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, June. We'll reach out. Bye, everybody.